Hey Craig, are you planning to review the deluxe Alan Lee illustrated edition of Lord of the Rings that just came out? No, I wasn't, but now I am. How much did I spend on this? Holy sh... Oh boy. Basically what I want to find out is, how deluxe is this edition? Is it really worth that much money? So we're going to compare it to some other Lord of the Rings editions. Should be fun. Let's pop this thing open. I do like how they've packaged it. I don't think you're gonna receive a damaged version of this as long as it went into the box undamaged. Okay. All right, so first impressions before we even open up the plastic. There's one thing that should be very obvious about this edition versus other deluxe, especially Alan Lee illustrated editions. This one is 3 volumes. The other ones tend to be a single volume bound together, which is fine. You know, it kind of depends on your preference. Do you like the bigger ones, or do you like it when it's broken into 3 volumes? Tell you what, this is more expensive. Anyway, let's bust this open, do some comparisons. We'll take a look at the cover, the binding, we'll look at the text itself, the illustrations, which, I mean, it's Alan Lee. What do we expect besides genius? All right, first impressions, we've got, it is a very similar situation here with the kind of cloth-bound box. All right, obviously, more shelf space. My hope is that they won't have to have bound it so tightly so that the book can lay open on a tabletop or in your hands. I don't have high hopes for that because that's not something that you commonly see in books these days, but I guess we'll find out. Okay, so we'll set this aside for a minute. I think it's got some real shelf appeal. And I will say, I love that unlike the deluxe Silmarillion edition, or no, it was the Hobbit. They both kind of did it, but the Hobbit edition had this giant green eyesore that was sticking out on one side that was also inserted into the box. It was a terrible idea. Okay, so here we go. Already, we've got some loose threads, a little bit of dirt, debris. Seriously, get off of my book. So we've got an Alan Lee illustration right here on the cover already. That is gorgeous. That's the Black Rider looking for the hobbits, I would assume. The Tolkien seal on the back, and oh yeah, okay. On the pages here, we have an illustration. I'm trying to decide what this is, and maybe I can open it up and look, but that looks like a riverbed, like with river rocks. And I wonder if that's supposed to be the Anduin where the ring was lost after Isildur fell. All right, so we've got some inserts here. The same thing that, oh, wow, okay. So it's 2 Black Rider inserts. Interesting. It's like one for a gift or what? I'm not sure. And in the back, we should have the map. All right, so this is a loose map, which I think I do prefer. There is something to having the map glued into the back of the book so that you know you won't lose it. There is something there. But on the other hand, I like being able to pull it out and look at it. 2-tone map, looking pretty good. It's not huge. It's not as big as some of the inserts that I've seen, and it's not glossy, but it is well printed. I'm not seeing any underprinted sections, so that bodes well for the text inside the book. Oh, before we go any further, let's take a look at this box, because once I pulled one of the volumes out, I noticed that the box is illustrated on the inside. Oh, okay, Samathnar. That's pretty cool. So we're at the cracks of doom in this illustration, and we've got you can see, well, I don't know if you can see it, maybe with the overhead, you can see lava, the kind of structures in the back there. Okay, that's pretty cool. We'll come back to that, I suppose. All right, let's get into the book. We've got, as it said, quarter leather bound. This feels thinner and cheaper than the leather that we got on the red edition. This, and I'm going purely by feel here, and hey, I'm no expert in different leather types, and obviously they're both going to be bonded leather, but this one feels like it's going to stand up to a little bit more wear and tear than this one. This feels more like cloth. When I get some noise off of this similar to cloth versus leather. So I'm curious about what that actually is bound with. All right, let's get into it. We're not going to look at every single illustration or anything, but we can kind of take a look at basically what it has to offer. That's really nice paper. Oh goodness, yeah, I do like that. Two-tone, red and black, and I assume, yep, up at the top we have the chapter headings and the page numbers are in red. So this is what we were talking about with the black and white chapter illustrations. Now the illustrations, I have to assume we're not getting new illustrations here. It's probably just a repackaging of some classic Alan Lee illustrations. There may be some new ones. I don't recognize the Black Rider, so that one's probably new. But we may be working in some old ones too. Oh yeah, there's my favorite version of, I think that's supposed to be a Luthien rather than Arwen. So yeah, it looks like we have some new stuff, lots of classic Alan Lee. So if you're looking for 60 new watercolors by Alan Lee, you're not gonna find it. All right, so let's talk about the binding. Can I set this open? How hard do I have to crack the spine to make that happen? Okay, it's not sitting open very well. Maybe if I read it several times, I don't wanna bust it, but it is sewn. So the binding should hold together regardless. And if I'm right in the middle of the book, I can kind of get it to stay open. If I go further back, yeah, I guess if you're willing to break in the spine a little bit, then it can work for you. Probably not toward the beginning, but it does feel very tightly bound, which I was hoping they wouldn't have to do with the 3-volume version, but there you have it. We do have a sewn binding. If you look closely, yep, the overhead should be able to pick this up. You can see the string going through and binding this. My guess is if I poke my finger through here, that it'll be a combo of glue and sewn. Yeah, okay. So they've got a cardboard backing, which I'm sure is used to glue the pages together and sew them. So yeah, it's probably a hybrid system. So yeah, this thing ain't falling apart anytime soon. That's good news at least. And now let's take a look at the printing. How are the margins? There's enough of a margin for my thumbs to kind of rest on the outside, so that's good. I'm not enough of an expert in font to tell you what font this is, but it is well printed. The line height could maybe be just a touch greater, but when you're trying to do 480,000 words, you're gonna have to scrunch a little bit. So at least they give you some good margins. All right, let's take a look through, say, 20 random pages or so and see if we see any printing mistakes, underprinted bits. Let's have a look. Yeah, so far so good. I don't see any printing errors or underprints, anything like that. So yeah, I'm happy with that. That's looking good. Let's go ahead and check out the others as well, and then maybe we can compare it a little more to other editions. Two Towers has, okay, it has his illustration of Helm's Deep. Very cool. Let's see what's on the pages. Aha, okay, so that's kind of the same thing. I was right, it's the riverbed. But this one does show the ring. So now I'm curious if we put the Return of the King with it in order, what does it look like? So here's what the pages look like. I suppose the idea here is that you could turn it out, put the spines in. Obviously that would defeat the purpose of having a quarter leather bound archival copy, but still, you could do that. All right. So Two Towers, let's see, do we have any inserts? Yep, so, there's only one insert. Did I get a mistake? Maybe I got a copy that wasn't supposed to have two Black Rider inserts. Okay, so we've got the Helm's Deep insert and, no map. Okay, so this one does not have a map and kind of the same thing. Yeah, it's not gonna lay open. I wish that it would. Honestly, I wish that it would. If we work it just a little bit, still, yeah, no, not really. But, and here's the string issue again. Hey, we're being nitpicky. And honestly, If it sounds like I'm being nitpicky, I should be at this price point. These should be pretty perfect, right? Okay, the Return of the King, we have Minas Tirith burning. Ooh, that's a cool shot. I like that. And again, one insert. So I suspect if anybody else has gotten this edition, I suspect that I was not supposed to get 2 Black Rider inserts. Let me know if you all got 2. And we do have another map in the back here. All right, so now we have the sort of Return of the King map. This is well printed as well. Man, Edoras is so far away. No wonder it took him so long to get there. Okay, so there we go. That's what it looks like. That's what you can expect to get in here. Now give me a minute. I'll go through and see if I can notice any major differences between the paintings and whatnot. Okay, very similar. We've got the Fell Beasts with the Nazgul. Okay, so we are going to have very similar illustrations throughout, I assume. It says here on the card that he did do the motifs on the box. So those 2 motifs, I assume he did the interior as well. Page edges sprayed for the first time with an illustration by the artist. So we are getting some extra, don't get me wrong, but you're not getting 60 brand new watercolors by Alan Lee. Honestly, you don't need them. The ones that are already in there are so good. And I just noticed something about this edition. I didn't even think about it. I just flipped it open to a page. This is even pretty close to the beginning of the book. And look what it does. It lays open. And the further toward the middle of the book you get, the easier it's going to lay open. Okay, so you compare that with this, and it's not, I guess toward the middle, yeah, because I was messing with it a little bit. Toward the middle, it almost kind of stays open, but really not quite. So if we compare these editions, what is it? Why does this not stay open? Well, a couple of reasons, I would assume. One, the weight of the paper. This is very thick, gorgeous paper. Really feels nice in the hand, honestly. So that's not a complaint. It's very tightly bound though. And so the pages want to stick together and not stay open. Versus this one, here, let's look at it top down. As I open it up, look at how easily this bends. And this is also going to be easier with a larger book, although that doesn't explain the beginning and end pages being able to do that. But you look at how loosely this is bound and how easily the spine is able to bend with the pages as you go. Hey, Sam, who am I? Ashnaz Dorbatulu. Yeah, don't joke about that, Mr. Frodo. And the other nice thing about having a huge edition like this one from the 90s is that when it's this big, comparing the size of it as well, you look, it's much taller, it's much wider. The nice thing about having one this big is how big they're able to make the text. So you probably saw that as I was laying it down, but the text is really quite big. I don't think that it is as well printed, but it's got good margins and it's got a good sized text. The question is whether it's worth the money that you're gonna have to pay for it. And honestly, it's probably too early to answer that right now. Because, for instance, one of the questions I'll have is, how well does this hold up? Again, this doesn't sound or feel like leather. It says quarter bound in blue leather, stamped in silver foil on gray cloth boards. That doesn't sound like any leather I've ever heard. I'm sure they couldn't say it was leather if it wasn't some type of at least really cheap leather. Are there a few nitpicks? Sure. Some of the threading on the borders wasn't as clean as I was hoping, but they really are gorgeous. I like the design. I like the border that we get around these Alan Lee illustrations. So it looks like we get 3 new Alan Lee illustrations for the 3 books. We get the new Alan Lee motifs on the outside of the box, and of course we get the illustration there and the page sprays on the ends. So are you getting enough new stuff to justify the cost? No, probably not, but honestly, I'm guessing most of us are not in this for the new stuff. Like, that's all great, that's a great perk. But at this point, if you're buying this copy of The Lord of the Rings, you're probably an obsessive like me, or you want to become an obsessive like me, and you want all the new additions. I don't know. Honestly, you tell me. Is it worth it? Is it worth the price point? I think it's going for about $250 right now. Who knows? That might go up or down in the months or years between now and when you watch this video. But yeah, would it be worth it to you to get a copy like this? For me, it's worth it because, again, I'm kind of an obsessive and I like to have all of these different editions. I like to compare and contrast and just enjoy owning many copies of my favorite book. But if that's not the boat you're in, yeah, that's fine. I totally understand that. Anyway, let me know in the comments what you would do. Be sure to give the video a like and a subscribe and all that stuff. But let's see you out with a few nice illustrations. We'll do some good shots of the book on our way out.